Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. We're following along this year with Sarah Breathnach's book, Simple Abundance. Talking about her principles this year, all year long: joy, harmony, beauty, order, simplicity, and gratitude. How are you doing on your gratitude? I hope you're still doing that every day. I know personally for me, some things are getting really specific. Like, I'm really glad that I have food, shelter, water, heat, things like that I guess I wasn't always saying thank you for at the end of every day. We're in some crazy times, but like I said in another video, we need the simple abundance path even more than we probably did before now. Because the things that really matter are coming to the forefront now. Where everything else might be falling by the wayside or be very uncertain right now, we can still be certain of ourselves and our souls, right? Today's March 23rd, and Sarah's entry is called Always Be a First-Rate Version of Yourself. And she takes a quote from Judy Garland that I'm going to paraphrase, but Judy says, always be a first-rate version of yourself, not a second-rate version of somebody else. What do you think of that? I think we can be very affected or influenced by the media and also just playing a role of somebody that maybe everybody's thought we always were for so long, but it wasn't really the real us. I've had a few times in my life where I've had the opportunity to, in a sense, recreate myself. I think I've always been the same person, but I just mean recreate myself in a new environment, like a fresh start. And there may be some fresh starts coming out of this experience that we're in now. What do you think? Are you getting to know your authentic self a little bit more this year? I know that I am, and I've shared with you that this channel's been really integral for me with that. And maybe it has been for you. I would love to know that. And I think the fact that I'm even on here and just very openly and transparently expressing my thoughts, feelings about things, I think that's just who I am. And I think that's why I enjoy so much doing this now, and I'm really glad that you're here with me. But I think it's a part of who I am authentically. I've always been an expresser, you know. I can't hold things in, like I said, whether it's written or singing or doing something like this. This is totally different for me, but I'm loving it, and it fills my soul, and I'm glad that it's positively affecting a lot of you from the comments. I want to read what she says in today's entry. According to Webster's dictionary, to be authentic is to be, quote, not imaginary, false, or an imitation. To be authentic is to be genuine, veritable, bona fide, being actually and precisely what is claimed. The only thing that we can genuinely claim to be is ourselves. But our best is good enough, even on a bad day. That's something to think about. I don't think we always get that message. I'm not blaming my family for not giving me a foundation of that, but I think just from society, there's always a competition of being the best. And even when you do your best, it might not be the best out of all the other ones, but if you can be the best you, that is quite an accomplishment. Because I know that there have got to be some of you out there watching this who don't feel like you're being the best version of yourself, whether it's you're still discovering who you want to be, or whether you are suppressing some things that you really feel maybe there's something that you've always wanted to do and you just keep telling yourself that you're never going to do it. Or you're needing to end a relationship, or you're needing to leave a job. Maybe this situation, I was talking to somebody else who was really wanting to leave their work situation, and this was like that they just never felt like personally they could have that conversation with the employer, who was a very close friend. And so this situation has actually completely alleviated that whole need for the conversation. And so it's amazing. Sometimes it's like, be careful what you wish for, right? No, don't be careful what you wish for. Wish big. You just have to know that it might turn out in a totally different way than you have envisioned it, right? And then as far as not being perfect, I know I have such a perfectionism thing about me. It's something that I work hard to try to not affect me so in a negative way. Being a perfectionist in some respects, especially professionally, can be really helpful. But I never knew this. Listen to what she says. Did you know that Amish quilt makers will always deliberately add a mismatched patch to each quilt to remind themselves that only spirit can create perfectly? We need to remember that. We should only strive to be the first-rate versions of ourselves. And again, she says, our best is always good enough. It's really nice to hear that. That sounds like something that Louise Hay would say. I hope you'll sit aside and think about what the best version of yourself is, and whether you're living that right now. And what parts of your authentic self are just screaming to come through? What parts are you not listening to? I feel like I've had so much more time without the chaos. I mean, there is a lot of chaos, but my regular life was always so go, go, go and overscheduled and never have a moment to sit down. That now that I have more time on my hands, I am listening more to the inner voice that I know I've always had, but I was just ignoring it for a while. And that was probably a part of why I was feeling so disconnected from myself, because I just was doing, and not really listening. And I'll tell you, I sat down the other night in my journal and I just started to map out all the positive possibilities, not the negative things about what's going on, but just what my life could potentially look like. I don't think I hope we're not going this far, because I love running water and toilets for sure, but I love the native cultures, when I think back to Native Americans and how they lived off the land and they would move to the winter camp, and I love those sort of things. I don't think we're going to go that far into the extreme, but life could change a lot and we don't know what's going to happen. I think before, even 2 weeks ago, before this all really came into my own personal life, I was trying so hard to sort of force a resolution to a few things and to sort of figure out what was next for me. And I just couldn't come to it. Nothing felt right. I never could have foreseen that this was what was going to happen, that there was going to be a big worldwide pandemic that affected our whole daily life and economics and who knows what else. So it really is way more of a blank slate than anything else. And so I sat down the other night and I just thought, what are some possibilities? Like, are there new ways of making a revenue stream happen? I don't know. I don't have it all figured out, but that was a much more positive experience than it was 2 weeks ago trying to figure out a whole bunch of things about my life. And so I think a lot of it is that I'm living in the present more. And this is sort of forcing us all to do that, because nobody really knows what's going to happen. Even a week from now, it's very hard to predict. But we do know that we have the current situation. We still have ourselves. We have our lives. Hopefully everybody in your life is staying well as you. We still have our hobbies. We still have our talents. We still have our relationships. And even if connecting with friends is a little differently happening right now, we still can be connected. And we're all connected spiritually too. We're all a part of this global community and a higher consciousness. There are some things out there on the internet too that you can find where some spiritual teachers are saying that this pandemic is a positive for humanity because it's bringing about a whole new level of consciousness. And people do have a choice of how they're handling everything that's happening, emotionally and physically. And everybody has a different school of thought about whether we have control or not, about whether we get sick or we die. Or some people are of the train of thought that they can control that, and others are not. So we all have a choice of what we want to believe and how we choose to go about life right now and what we focus on as being most important. I know for me, I've definitely been more in the present moment. Like I said, I've been listening to my intuition. I've been doing some things for myself, like just sitting and watching nature outside. I have a tree out front that has buds on it. I'm so excited. And I'm just watching nature change. And I'm having I wonder what is going to happen next sort of attitude. And that's not really been my personality. I'm such a planner. I always have everything mapped out. It's the way that I cope with stress and to make sure that I'm super organized and prepared for everything. And aside from having food and toilet paper and the things that I need to survive in my home for a while, I don't have it all mapped out. And I feel a sense of surrender about that right now. And there's something peaceful about it in my experience right now. Thank you for letting me share my authenticity with you through the channel. Thank you for tuning in. Happy for all your subscriptions and your likes and comments. It brightens my day, and I hope that this has been a positive for you as well. Please stay well, stay safe, and I will see you again on the next video. Much love.